Now I want to show you some of the warp options to get really specific adjustments in Photoshop. So let's make sure we have Tommy selected and go to Edit, Transform, and Warp. Now down here we have a warp box, and this is kind of like a transform box, except you can get way more specific. So if I drag out one of these corners, you can see that this box it's kind of like divided into a grid here. And so the grids will affect each other, but mostly it'll work on whatever you currently have selected. So I can bring these, I can play with these. And then if I wanted to like bring his neck in, I could just click here and just focus on this area and then do it the same here. And then to compensate for that, I could like drag the head outward. And I can make really specific warps to my image using the warp box. If you go to free transform by clicking Control T, you see this little option here. This will take you to warp instead of having to click on Edit, Transform, Warp. Another warp option we have is Puppet Warp. And this is really cool and really helpful to know. So let's say Tommy had a friend walk by and he wants to wave to his friend. What you can do is you can basically, it'll load kind of like a mesh grid and based on the shape of your layer. And then you can add points to it. And these points are going to be, it's kind of like saying these are where the joints in my image are. So I'll put some on the hands, on the feet, and then in the head. And now if I click and drag one of these points, I can now just change the shape, but it'll change the shape until it reaches one of those joints that I've added. So I can bring his arm in, I can bring his arm out. And you can see that the rest of the image does adjust itself based on, what I'm doing. So it basically turns whatever layer you had into a little digital puppet that you can then adjust and play with. And it's really fun. So now I can make Tommy wave to his friend. And now he's happy. And there you go. That's how you can use some of the more advanced warp features within Photoshop.